Hey, what is up, you guys? Quentin Loves Trains and Horror Movies 2015, and today I'm going to be reviewing Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, released in 1982. Let's get one thing straight. Right off the bat, yes, this is the Halloween movie that has nothing to do with Michael Myers. Instead, it's a completely unrelated tale about an evil Irish toymaker and his diabolical plan to kill kids all over the country using bloody trapped masks and a disturbingly catchy jingle. Allow me to explain how this shapeless Halloween sequel came to be. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, the producers of the first film, originally wanted to make the Halloween series in the same vein as The Twilight Zone, set around the holiday. Then any movie that did well could get a spin-off series. It sounds kind of Conjuring-esque in retrospect, but there was a bit of a problem. Michael Myers had made such an impact in the original film that the other producers wanted him back. So Carpenter and Hill agreed to make one more movie about him before proceeding to their sort of jukebox of horror plan. And that's why Michael died at the end of Halloween 2, and that was supposed to be it for him and on to something else. But people loved Michael Myers. You can't really blame them. Maybe if they started this anthological approach with the first sequel, the audience would have been more understanding. But after two Halloweens staring a stalkery shape, it's not surprising that audiences expected him back for the third, and thus Season of the Witch was a pretty big bomb and ended any plans to make a Twilight Zone of cinematic terror. As for the movie itself, it's completely ridiculous, even if it was entirely separated from the Halloween series. I actually love it because of how crazy it is. In fact, the only thing I don't care for is the December of the following year romantic going on in it. Other than that, I love it. The witchcraft, the sci-fi, all the brutal kills. Let's get to reviewing this movie. On October 23rd in Northern California, shop owner Harry Grimbridge is chased along a barren road by mysterious men in suits. After nearly being killed by one man who is crushed to death but remains silent as he dies, makes it to a nearby gas station. He is driven to the hospital by kindly station attendant Walter Jones. At the hospital, Harry is placed in the care of Dr. Daniel Chalice, an alcoholic doctor who has poor relationships with his ex-wife and his two children. That night, another man in a suit enters Harry's hospital room, murders him, then implates himself when Daniel tries to pursue him. A few days later, Daniel is confronted in a bar by Harry's daughter, Ellie. He tells her about the strange events of the night. Harry died and shows her the mask her father was holding. When he was admitted to the hospital along with Ellie, Daniel traces the mask back to Silver Shamrock Novelties, a company based in the town of Santa Mira, California. The outwardly gentle motel manager explains that Connell Cochran and his company, Silver Shamrock Novelties, which produces wildly popular latex jack-o'-lantern, witch, and skeleton masks for Halloween, are responsible for the town's prosperity while signing the motel before he arrived in town. Other motel guests include shop owners Marge Gutman and Buddy Cupford, Buddy's wife Betty, and their son Little Buddy, who all have business at the company's factory. A local vagrant tells Daniel about Cochran and spouts shop hopeless plans to burn down the plant in retaliation for not being hired there. But some blank-faced men in suits show up after Daniel leaves and decapitate the vagrant. Marge finds a stone microchip on the back of a Silver Shamrock button. She is zapped in the face by its laser beam after poking it with a hairpin via massive burns across her face and causing a large insect to emerge from the wound. Daniel and Ellie learn of Marge's accident, and Daniel attempts to help, but is forced away by a group of men dressed in lab coats, who drive away in a Silver Shamrock van with Marge's body. Cochran arrives and tells everyone not to worry, but Daniel overhears the hotel manager tell Cochran one word: misfire. The next morning, Daniel and Ellie tour the factory with the Cupfords and discover Harry's car there, guarded by more men dressed in suits. They return to the motel but cannot contact anyone outside of town. While Daniel attempts to phone for authorities, Ellie mysteriously disappears, and Daniel is captured by the men in suits, who are revealed to be androids created by Cochran for Silver Shamrock's Big Giveaway, which will air at 9:00 p.m. on television channels following the Horrorthon. Each of these masks contain fragment of Stonehenge implanted in its trademark microchip. When activated by a flashing signal of the commercial's on-screen Magic Pumpkin, the microchip causes the mask to vibrate to succumb brain damage from absorbing the mask of Stonehenge and unleashes a swarm of insects and snakes that come out of the wearer's corpse and kill anyone nearby. To demonstrate, Cochran kills the Cupfords this way. Later that night, Cochran puts a Silver Shamrock mask on Daniel and reveals his plan to sacrifice children wearing his masks on Halloween, thus bringing about ancient of witchcraft and pagan rituals in the Celtic lands going back to centuries for Cochrane's family. He leaves him to die the same fate as the trick-or-treating children, who will come for his false watch and win Halloween sweepstakes that he created for his company. Daniel destroying the television set and removing the mask escapes through a ventilation shaft and rescues Ellie. He dumps the chips from the overhead rafters and activates their signal with a commercial killing Cochrane's employees while Cochrane is vaporized by the Stonehenge room he was using to create his masks, leading up to a massive fire that destroys the entire factory. As the two drive away, Ellie attacks Daniel, revealing herself to be an android duplicate, and that Cochrane's henchman presumably killed her. Daniel crashes the vehicle, but decapitates the android with a tire iron. On foot, Daniel arrives at Walter's gas station, where he contacts the television station's attempts to all station managers to remove the commercial. At the same moment, a group of trick-or-treaters wearing silver shamrock masks at the station to participate in the big giveaway on Walter's television. Daniel persuades the station to take it off channels 1 and 2, but on channel 3 the commercial keeps playing. Daniel desperately screams on the phone for the final station to turn off the commercial. That's it. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch came out in 1982 and had the most of the same crew as Halloween 2, even if it was lacking Michael Myers. And I also want to give a shout out to Christian Hannah Horror, Nick the Lost River Drive-In, Ryan 1988, Piswell, Lee Drumdums, Barry Wolfman's Got Nards, Braden Timmons, Nick Push's Horror Channel, Jake Blaster Productions, Bud and Halloween Verse, Dave McCrae, Jimmy Champagne, Zach ZZ's World, Mike and Jay, We Watched a Movie, and James H. News from Dead Meat. Next week, I'll be reviewing Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Until next time, I'm Quentin Loves Trains and Horror Movies 2015. Please like, share, subscribe, comment below on what you think. Please follow me on Instagram and support me on Patreon. Thanks, be good people.